Let's frost this beginner rose stencil set. You want to make sure that you have a toothpaste-like consistency to start with, and we're just going to be using white. Then you want to find those parts of your design to tack down first. So anywhere that might have icing push underneath, like by the leaves here. Once you get those tacked down, you can then just trace the outline of the rest of your shape and then fill in the middle. Come in with your scraper and you're just going to hold it at a 45-degree angle and gently scrape across. We want this layer to be fairly thin because we are going to be frosting this 3 times. This just makes a very sturdy base so that you can then take it off of the plastic and attach it to your cookie later on. These first 2 layers we're just going to frost with white icing, so you don't have to worry about coloring your icing just yet. The reason I do that is because we're not even going to see these colors in the final design because they will be covered up by that 3rd layer. Again, hold it about a 45-degree angle and gently scrape across so that you have a nice flat surface. You want to anchor in one corner and peel from the opposite. This helps keep your stencil from shifting. On this layer, we are going to be frosting it black, and this is going to be creating all of the black outlines for the rest of our design. Again, I'm coming in from the sides to make sure that I'm tacking down any spots that look like icing might easily push underneath. And I'm pulling inwards from the outside. That way, again, I don't push underneath. As we start building this design, you do want to scrape these layers thin enough so that you start to see the plastic through that icing. Let these layers dry fully. I usually use a desktop fan blowing on them to make them dry a little bit quicker. Usually 10 to 15 minutes for these larger shapes. This next stencil is what the rest of our design is going to build on. Make sure that you're paying attention to all of these little details in the petals because we don't want to really push underneath those. This green color I just made with yellow and blue and some green, and that just kind of brought it to this vibrant green color. Because there are so many details facing different directions, I like to just make sure that I swipe fully across the whole design in one swipe. And I'm not pushing hard at all. I'm just allowing the weight of my hand and the spatula to apply this icing. And then I'll come through and gently scrape off a little bit of this icing at a time until I get down to that stencil. And once it's thin enough, I'll peel it off, and you can see by not pushing very hard, I was able to achieve really nice crisp lines. I waited for this to dry fully, and then I pushed the stencil into the little crevices of the previous layer. That helps tack them into place so that we don't push underneath them. Again, I'm swiping all the way across the design by hardly pushing at all. And scrape this until you reach down to the plastic. That's how thin these layers are. We do not need thick layers. And then peel up, and there is your rose.